Hello friends, this is Dr. Pritesh Singh, author of Surgery Essence, AIMS Essence and NEET Essence, National Level Surgery Faculty and Faculty of Surgery in PrepLadder. After NEET PG results, lots of students were asking questions related to surgery as a career, pros and cons of surgery branch, what about super specialty, fellowship, residency, what books should be followed. In this video, we will be having detailed discussion of all these aspects. So first of all, congratulations for cracking the NEET PG. It's a new phase of life and now you will be putting your focused efforts in one branch. So at this point of time, it's my advice, no need to take stress of super specialty. Because see, cracking super specialty is relatively easier and it's less stressful as compared to cracking the NEET PG exam. So let's first discuss the pros and cons of surgery. As a branch, surgery is an evergreen branch. If you want to practice in metros, you can practice. If you want to practice in suburban areas, you can practice. Even with MS surgery only, you have lots of options. Financially, it's one of the most rewarding branches. It gives the sense of satisfaction because surgery is a curative branch, right? So it gives you immense satisfaction when you remove some kind of pathology or some kind of tumor from the patient and patient is discharged. In my friend circle, the people who are just MS surgery or people who did fellowship or people who are super specialist, all of them are doing extremely good. There might be slight variation of income, but actually speaking, all of them are doing extremely good. So it's not mandatory that you have to go for super specialty or you have to go for the fellowship. It's up to your interest and it's up to your wish that how much efforts you want to put and what you expect from the life. Now coming to the cons of surgery. What is the first problem? That you need a mentor or a guide who can teach you about the surgical skills. Second problem, that if you want to establish your own setup or you want to do the private practice, it is not possible generally till fourth decade or in late 40s because till that time we are acquiring the surgical skills. So this is the only cons. Next question students were asking, that surgery is a good branch for girls or not. Obviously it's a very good branch for girls. See, girls are having fine skills, so it's obviously a good branch. Certain students were thinking or certain students were told that there might be some kind of discrimination between male and female PGs. Actually speaking, there is no discrimination. Sometimes we have seen that consultants or seniors are having soft corner for female postgraduates. So chances of getting surgeries in OT is more if you are sincere at work. So there is no discrimination at all. Even in metro cities, there is no discrimination between male and female surgeons. But if you go to some smaller cities, there might be some discrimination from patient side only, but not from surgeon side or not from some doctor side or hospital side. After that, certain students were asking the question that, sir, I'm having Parkinsonism, I'm having asthma, I take drugs and I'm having tremors. Some of them are having backache because of obesity or some medical illness, and some students are having color blindness. In all these situations, you should opt surgery or not. So let me tell you one thing. If you have Parkinson's, if you have asthma and you take beta agonist, because of that you develop tremors, or you have backache, chronic backache because of some medical problem, or you have color blindness, it's my sincere advice that you should not go for surgical branches. Why? Because if you go for these surgical branches, what happens? It creates a sense of self-doubt. And if you have self-doubt, what happens? It's very difficult to achieve excellence in that particular field. Because self-doubt is the biggest hurdle, one of the biggest hurdle in achieving excellence. So if you have these medical problems, it's better you should go for a non-surgical branches rather than going for a surgical branch, even if you're passionate about surgery. After that, one of the frequently asked question is DNB versus MS surgery. Now let me tell you one thing. Suppose you have two options, DNB in Delhi versus MS surgery in some peripheral place or in some peripheral college where the good infrastructure is not there. My suggestion is you should go for DNB surgery rather than MS surgery from some peripheral college. Now why? In the surgery branch, you are not only bothered about the degree, you should be looking about the stipend status, the bond status, the exposure to surgery and the quality of life. So there should be proper balance. Now see, DNB is also a well structured course. And nowadays there is no bias for DNB. See, 5 to 6 years back there was some bias, but nowadays there is no bias. And after doing DNB surgery, if you go for NEET super specialty and you clear NEET super specialty exam or DNB super specialty, after that nobody is going to talk about your degree. Clear? So there is no bias at all. So what are the problems with DNB? The only problem is that the exam is not being conducted at your own medical college or your own center. The exam will be conducted in some other city where you might not be knowing the examiner. So examiners are not that supportive. But see, if you are well prepared, nothing matters. If your preparation is up to the mark, nothing matters. Clear? So it's about your preparation. What is the advantage in MS surgery? Sometimes the students are lucky. Why? Because the exam is conducted in their own medical college. And if exam is conducted in your own medical college, what happens? The stress level is minimum because there is friendly juniors, friendly seniors, supporting seniors, environment is friendly, and even your consultant is supporting you because that consultant has seen you for the 3 years, your working method, your style, the way you work. So even your performance in Viva is not very good, only in Viva, not in the theory exams. So if in Viva your performance is not that good, in that case also you might get an advantage in MS surgery. So this is not there in DNB. Second, in certain states, especially in government jobs, if you have DNB surgery, so you have to go for 1 year of additional residency. But be careful, this is required only at some places, not at all the places. So if you are asking about my opinion, it's better to go for DNB surgery from some good institute, from good city or metro city, rather than going for MS surgery from a college where infrastructure is not that good and it's in the periphery. After that, another very important question about 6 year DNB courses. There are 6 years DNB courses in neurosurgery, plastic surgery, pediatric surgery, and CTVS. So what are the pros and what are the cons? In these 6 year courses, the process that you are going to become a trained super specialist. Second, you are not supposed to appear for another competitive exam and you are going to get the job easily. Sometimes if you are going to work properly in that particular center only, you are going to get the job. But be careful, if you are very passionate about these branches, neurosurgery, plastic surgery, pediatric surgery, CTVS, if you are very passionate, then only go for these branches. So how to choose these institutes? First of all, you have to talk to the people who are working there, who are already working there. You have to see the surgeries being done, how is the academics there, what is the stipend structure. So all these things should be assessed, and the best way, talk to the residents who are already working in these centers. What are the cons of these 6 years courses? First, that in general surgery, if you are doing MS surgery or DNB surgery, you have a choice that which branch you want to opt in super specialty. It has been seen that suppose in the beginning I'm very much passionate about neurosurgery, but when I'm doing MS surgery or DNB surgery, later I realize that my inclination is towards urology, not towards neurosurgery. So obviously I can opt that particular branch in super specialty. But what is the biggest problem? That if you are going for these 6 years courses, you are stuck with the branch. You cannot change your decision in between. So for 6 years, you are in that particular field only. And that's why some students are going to realize it later. And because of this, there is high dropout rate in 6 years courses. In these 6 year courses, general surgery cases exposure is very less, and hospital uses you for the 6 years as cheap labor. So if you're talking about my opinion for these 6 years courses, yes, my opinion is that you should not go for these 6 year courses until and unless you are very passionate about that particular branch. Now see why. If you're talking about neurosurgery, plastic surgery, pediatric surgery, CTVS, clear? Every year in some institutes there are certain seats in these branches which are vacant. So aspirants are not going to opt these branches. So you have to be very careful for these 6 years courses. If you are very passionate, go for it. Otherwise, just because it's an option available to you, you should not go for these 6 years courses. Next question which students were asking, that sir, we should choose periphery over Delhi or metros. So see, it's my personal perception and opinion that it's better to go for Delhi or metros over periphery, right? But there should be a balance between bond status, what is the stipend available, what is the working environment, surgical exposure. So you have to consider all these points, and nowadays bond is very very important. Why? Because if bond status is there, what happens? You are stuck with that much duration in that particular medical college or in that particular state. After that, for the counseling, students are confused between surgical branches and other branches when both options are available. First confusion is between, if the person is interested in surgery, is between surgery and ortho. Now see, if you are a hardworking person having high aspirations and you are willing to put extra efforts, go for surgery and do the super specialty. Clear? Because sky is the limit in the surgery. But what if you don't want to go for another exam and you want a terminal branch? Ortho is equally good. So be careful, it's up to you what you want from life. If you are talking about my perception, so if you are a hardworking person, I suggest that go for surgery rather than ortho. Second question, girls were asking that sir, I'm having both options available. One is surgery, MS surgery, and second is gynae. Which one we should choose? So see, both branches are equally good for girls. Surgery also and gynae also. But if you're talking about my perception, my opinion, according to my opinion, gynae is better than surgery. It's my opinion that gynae is better than surgery. Now see, in gynae you do the surgeries, and in future if you want to do the super specialization, the option is available in gynecological oncology, surgical oncology. There is IVF, so lots of options are there even after option gynae. So it's my opinion that if you have both options available, if you are interested in surgery, go for the gynae rather than surgery. But if you are only interested in surgery, you can go. My personal opinion, gynae over surgery. After that, another question, surgery versus radio, right? Now let me tell you, if you see the scenario from last 4-5 years, when the seats has been increased, you will notice that certain radiologists, I have seen the people doing MD radiology from MAMC, the premier institute, and second year onwards they started preparing for MLE, or some of them are going to Australia, right? So what? It is said that radio is the best branch, but it's best according to your perception and need. See, if you want a comfortable life, good amount of income from very beginning, you should go for radiology, right? But if you are a hardworking person, right, you want to achieve too much of success in the terms of name and fame, and you need satisfaction of treating the patient, then I should suggest go for surgery. Why? Because in surgery, sky is the limit. In radiology, there is one specialty, interventional radiology, where you can achieve similar level of name and fame. But apart from interventional radiology, what happens? The rest of the things are not that good. Why? Because in radiology, your maximum income is capped. What? There is a cap on your maximum income. But in surgery, there is no cap. So again, in surgery and radiology, it's up to you what you want from your life. After that, another question, surgery versus medicine. See, both medicine and surgery, both are evergreen branches, right? So it's your inclination. If your inclination is towards medicine, go for medicine. And if your inclination is towards surgery, go for surgery. I have seen certain students that they want medicine, but at their rank, surgery is not available in good medical colleges. Now see, if you are interested in both medicine and surgery, what you should choose? Surgery from a premier institutes versus medicine from a peripheral institutes. So it's my opinion that go for surgery from a central institutes or from a good institutes rather than going for medicine from a peripheral institutes. Only if you have interest in both medicine and surgery. But if your interest is only towards medical subjects or in medicine, go for medicine. And if you are interested in surgery, go for the surgery. Okay, after that, students were asking questions that, sir, after passing MS surgery, what are the other options available? So one of the beautiful option is MRCs, Then students were asking that, sir, what is the best time to appear for MRCS? During PG itself, means during second year or third year, or after passing MS surgery? Let me tell you, when you are in second year or third year, you are not prepared thoroughly. So you might not clear the exam, though it's not very difficult. But what if you are going to pass MS surgery? After that, this MRCS exam appears very easy. Clear? So my advice is you should go for MRCS exam and after passing MS surgery. Second good option is during third year only you should fill the form for secondary DNB. During third year, don't forget to fill the form for secondary DNB so that just after passing your MS surgery exam, you can appear for theory as well as clinical exam of secondary DNB. So advantage, just after clearing MS surgery, you will be having two additional degrees. One is MRCS and second is secondary DNB. After that, lots of fellowships are there. And in these fellowships, what there is a training workshop or training program, you have to attend that, and after that you have to pass the exam is not that difficult. But in these fellowships, certain duration is a prerequisite, means you can appear in these fellowships only after 1, 2 or 3 years of passing the exam. One is FIAGS, second is FMAS. So you have to inquire about these and you should appear for these fellowships because this will add extra degrees in front of your name. After that, the next question. So what should we choose between super specialty, fellowships and only MS surgery? First of all, let me tell you, all these are good. If you are going to do the super specialty, it's good. You are going to do the fellowship, it's good. And if you are just going to continue as a general surgeon, then also it's good, because you will notice that in suburban areas lots of people who are just MS surgery, they are general surgeons, yes, doing too good, doing most of the cases of general surgery and laparoscopy. But if you are talking about my personal opinion, let me tell you, if you want to stay in metros, right, or in bigger cities, then obviously super specialty is preferred over fellowships, and fellowship is preferred over simple MS surgery. Why you should go for super specialty? Let me tell you, nowadays, because of increase in the number of seats, the competition is not that much, and it is less stressful and relatively easier to crack super specialty exam rather than cracking NEET PG. Why? Because here you are supposed to study only one subject, and here you are having in-depth knowledge of that particular subject. So here only you need is the time. So what is the requirement? You need time to read and revise. But what is the problem in NEET PG? 19 subjects are there. There might be certain subjects where you are not having enough understanding. So that's why, in terms of hard work, stress, preparation, cracking super specialty is relatively easier than NEET PG. You will come across certain general surgeons who are not going to accept that super specialty or super specialists are preferred over general surgeons in metros. But that's not the fact. If you go to any corporate hospital or metro hospitals, obviously, if there is some kidney stone or some bladder stone, obviously a urologist is preferred over general surgeon, right? So generally in metros, what super specialists are preferred over general surgeon, but there is a separate department of general surgery also, where hernia cases are being done, hemorrhoidectomy is being done. Clear? So my personal preference or opinion is you should go for super specialty. Super specialty is preferred over fellowship, and which is preferred over simple MS surgery. Now, second question students are asking, sir, which branches in super specialty? Let me tell you, at this point of time, it's the urology, surgical oncology, and minimal access surgery, which is at the top. People are doing extremely good. But you will notice that lots of surgery residents, they have special inclination towards GI surgery. And since lots of students are having special inclination for GI surgery, what is the problem? In GI surgery, there is maximum competition. I'm telling that there is maximum competition. I'm not telling that this is the best branch. Why? See, because in GI surgery, initially you don't face any difficulty in learning the skills. You are already having the skills, you have to just improve the skills. What is the biggest problem? Suppose a patient is having gallstone or patient is having appendicitis, that patient will go to a general surgeon. And if patient is having some kind of malignancy, that patient will go to the oncologist. So what happens? As such, you don't have good identity as a super specialist. But there is one good thing about GI surgery, that if you want to pursue a career in transplantation, especially liver transplantation, pancreas transplantation, small bowel transplantation, out of these three, liver transplantation, then it's a beautiful place and you can achieve the greater heights. But what? It's only the transplantation. So you have to be very careful before choosing GI surgery in super specialty. So this sequence should be followed: urology, surgical oncology, minimal access surgery, followed by GI surgery, followed by neuro and plastic, followed by CTVS and pediatric surgery. Second option is about fellowships. You have seen that the people who are doing MS surgery, after that they are going to complete their senior residency. After completing their senior residency, lots of people are doing fellowships in minimal access surgery and bariatric surgery, and it's extremely awesome combination. MS surgery with fellowship in laparoscopy. Why? Because you will get many patients who just need treatment for gallstones, for appendicitis, for hernia. Clear? And for other benign disorders. And nowadays, this era is an era of laparoscopy. So don't have any kind of fear that just after MS surgery the options are limited. No, after that go for fellowship in minimal access surgery and you will be achieving the greater heights of success. And you can practice even in metros, you can practice in suburban areas, even in smaller cities. After all these kind of queries, then students are asking question about residency. Sir, how to proceed for first year, or how to proceed for the residency? What are the problems in first year residency? Now let me tell you, during residency, the stress level is very high, right? So how to reduce the stress level? Whenever you are having some kind of stress, how to reduce the stress level? Yes, imagine the worst. Now, what is the meaning? Whenever you are going to the hospital during your first year, you should be having this thought in your mind that today I won't be able to come to the room. Means I will be having a 24-hour duty or 24 hours emergency. Right? So imagine the worst. So if you don't get the time to come back to your room for taking some kind of rest, then it doesn't matter. And if you are going to get some time to take some rest, yes, and you get some time to come to your room, you are happy. So what is first principle? Imagine the worst. Imagine that you won't be able to come today from the hospital or from the ward. Second thing, you should be having good relation with your seniors. Why? Because they are the people who are going to teach you the surgical skill. Your immediate senior is the best person. He will tell you each basic thing. So you should be having good relation with your immediate senior and most of your seniors. Impress your seniors with hard work. So generally, this is the only way by which we can impress our seniors, our consultants. And if they can observe, they generally observe you, how you work. So if you are working sincerely, you are taking good care of patient, yes, they are impressed and they themselves will be teaching you the surgical skills. They themselves will be giving you options that this is how you should insert the chest tube, this is how you should do the cut down, IND, and other surgeries which are performed by first years like appendectomy. Second, whenever you are performing some kind of intervention, be careful that you should be performing that intervention under supervision. Why? Because initially you are not having the idea of complications which can occur during that particular intervention. And if you are not doing that intervention under supervision, what? Sometimes complications may occur and you are having nobody to help you out. And if these kind of things are going to happen, what? Your name will be there in the department, circulating from this department to that department, that resident this thing in the OT or minor OT. So be careful. No interventions without supervision. Second, don't take too much of stress of learning the skills. Let me tell you, it's a long process. So it's not like that within 6 months only you will learn everything. So it's a long process. So slowly you acquire the surgical skills. So your main focus should be in the good care of patient, not only in doing the intervention like cut down, IND, appendectomy, inserting chest tube. Main focus should be the good care of the patient. Second thing is, in surgery department you will come across lots of people who make things look very difficult. Like they will say that it's not very easy to pass the exam, it's not very easy to do this, it's not very easy to do the super specialty. See, it's their perception. And these kind of people are highly frustrated. Let me tell you one simple thing throughout your life which is going to matter. And this statement is very, very important, that efforts beat talent. Clear? So if you are sincere enough, hardworking to put the efforts, you can easily beat the talent. So whatever the skills you are going to acquire, it depends on you, how much efforts you want to put. Second is, in each and every department, let me tell you, in each and every department, 80% people are good. 80%. But what about 10 to 20% people? They are negative, they are frustrated. So your focus should be to avoid these kind of people, right? Don't confront, don't be depressed, because their main goal is to harass you. One simple principle which should be followed throughout the life: suppose it's raining outside. Yes, if it's raining outside, what you do? Either you stay at home, and if you want to come out with an umbrella, right? So that, what is the meaning? So that you can avoid the negativity of these kind of people by creating a barrier, right? So if it's raining outside, either stay in your house or home, or come out with an umbrella, so that you are not in contact with the negativity of these people. So maintain huge distance between the negativity. Second thing, what I have observed in certain units, if consultant is not good and that consultant is going to say something to the senior resident, that senior resident pass on that thing to the third year PG, then second year PG, first year PG, and then first year PG pass on that thing to the intern, right? So the whole environment becomes negative. Let me tell you, by harassing someone, what happens? You cannot get the mental peace and the happiness. Now see, suppose you are first year PG, right? And it's lunchtime and you are hungry. Yes, an intern is there. Now, if you are not getting time for having lunch, you are not supposed to force the interns to stay hungry. What? It's your duty to leave them, right? So if you are hungry, you are not supposed to force your juniors to stay hungry, right? So it's not like that. If you are being harassed by your senior, you are going to do the same thing with your interns. Let me tell you one simple principle: if you take care of interns, if you leave them on time, because the intern has to study also, intern has to go for the classes also, has to appear for the test also. So if you are having this caring attitude towards intern, because you were also an intern, so remember your time. So just by giving this kind of care to the interns, what happens? You will get too much of love and respect in return, right? So you will notice that even interns who are going to, complete the internship from your department, when they meet you outside, yes, they have too much of love and respect for you. And if your behavior is not that good, obviously they are going to avoid you. I have seen certain postgraduates who are having this extra caring attitude for interns, and not only love respect they got in return, they got a soulmate also. So it's also possible. So with a degree, you are getting a soulmate also if your behavior is good. Another thing is, whenever we are first year PGs in the department, we are the junior most people, right? And let me tell you, when you are the junior most people, it's easy to learn the things from everyone around. So imagine that the people, whatever the people are around you, even nurses, ward boys, right, colleagues, senior, whatever the people are around, they are going to teach you something. So if you imagine that people around are the teachers for you, you are going to acquire some kind of good skill from these people. So always behave like a student and give respect to the people, right? And if you give respect to the people, definitely they are going to give you certain good skills. And during first year PG, obviously you have to be punctual, you have to be humble. Second thing is, what you have noticed, that on rounds consultants are going to ask questions to the third year PGs, to second year PGs, and if third year second year are not going to reply, sometimes even to first year PGs also. Let me tell you one thing: you should not belittle your seniors. So on rounds, if your seniors are not replying, they are not knowing answer, even if you are knowing the answer, you should not reply. Why? The seniors should not be having this kind of feeling that you are going to belittle them. So just close your mouth, no need to reply. And what happens, even if you don't know the answer, it's fine. For first year PG, you are not supposed to answer any question on the rounds. Your main duty is to take care of the patient, to manage the ward properly. After that, there is one competition between the first years of 2 or 3 units, that I did incision and drainage, I did 2 appendectomy, I did this surgery. So let me tell you, you should not compare with your batchmates that how many surgery they did. Why? Because in senior residency, whatever the surgeries you have done during your post graduation, in senior residency, within 6 months, you can do all those surgeries. So, what? Your main focus is not in the comparison. Your focus should be in the learning the good patient care and learning the skills. Another very important point is gossips. You have seen that whenever we are staying in the ward for maximum duration, there are certain kind of gossips. Yes, with PGs, co-PGs, sometimes with interns, sometimes with nurses. Avoid all these kind of gossips, because if you're going to take part of the gossips or take part in the gossips, what happens? Your name is being circulated in the department that that person was having active participation and he was saying this statement, and after that most of the people must be knowing you in the department, and certain consultants might even start targeting you. So avoid gossips. You should not take leave, especially during first year. Why? Because if you take leave and there is no other first year, what happens? The burden comes on second year. So if you are on leave, that work has to be done by someone. So avoid taking leaves until and unless it's a serious situation, right? So generally we should avoid taking leaves. And since it's difficult to go home frequently, so stay in touch with family and friends, because it is said that a problem shared is a problem halved, a joy shared is a joy doubled. So you should stay in touch with family and friends. If you are in the wars, then also you can talk on phone. So stay in touch, right? So that there is no stress, and you should keep sharing all your problems, whatever the issues are there, whatever the things which are happening, exciting things in life, you should be discussing with family and friends. Next, students were asking that, sir, we should read books, we should buy instrument. Yes. See, in first year, you should buy a needle holder and a good forceps, needle holder and good forceps, and you should be having sutures so that you can practice on your own, so that it is going to improve your skills. Second, whenever you can see that your immediate senior is in the good mood, generally in emergency, if there is lesser load, or in OTs, yes, you can ask him that, sir, please tell me how to apply this knot. So you can learn the knotting skills by your immediate seniors. Regarding books, my advice is that you should not go to the ward with books during first year. Why? Because then your seniors might be having some kind of opinion about you, that this guy is only bothered about studies, he is least bothered about doing the work. So in the ward, you should not be carrying any book. And if you want to study, if you have some time, you can study Kirk or Pies. But study these books at your room only. Now coming to the second year is relatively comfortable period. Suddenly you will realize when your first year comes, then half of your burden is over. Now you are not responsible for each and everything. The sister is not going to call you 24 hours. Interns are not going to call you 24 hours for all the problems. During this comfortable period of second year, see, take some rest. And apart from taking rest, enjoy life and start studying. This is the best time to start the preparation. During second year, you might have your inclination towards one particular branch. You then realize that, okay, I'm interested in which particular branch. And related to that particular branch, you should start studying the books. Students are asking that which books. Let me tell you, Subiston is the gold standard book, right? So you should follow it thoroughly. Subiston. Second, shorts. There are certain topics which should be read from the shorts, like breast, thyroid, hernia, breast, thyroid, hernia, and pancreas. So these topics should be studied from shorts. You have two options: either you can buy the book or you can get the photocopy of these particular topics only. Third book is Bailey. Bailey is a very good book for surgeons. So obviously it's a good for you people also, and this will help you in neat super specialty general surgery questions. So you should buy Bailey and read it. After that, fourth very important book is Surgery Essence. It will help you on your rounds. It will help you in your final year MS exam, and it is extremely helpful book for NEET super specialty exam, especially the general surgery part. You might have seen certain residents of surgery carrying this Surgery Essence book in the library. So you have to study. And if even you have studied it during your post graduation, what? Revise it. Get the new edition and start reading it again. After that, there are questions related to urology also in exam and on rounds also. So for that, Smith Urology is a good book. But see, if you are preparing for MCH urology or super specialty in urology, then you should study what? Campbell. For GI surgery, you should study Bloomgart and Shackelford. and for surgical oncology DVTA. Now, my sincere advice, your goal should not be to finish these books from cover to cover. Why? It becomes stressful and it's actually difficult because these are big books. So, the main goal should be to read the selected important topics which are helpful in exams, which are related to the cases, long cases, and short cases, so that you have confidence also and you have no additional burden. After that, students are asking that, sir, for clinical cases, which books should be read? Now, see, there is a very good book in the market, Makhan Lal Saha, and this is very good for exam performance because case wise discussion is there. So, for cases, Makhan Lal Saha, very good book. Second is SRB, Bedside Clinics, and third is Das. You should buy all the three: Makhan Lal Saha, SRB, and Das. Clear? So, all these are good and you have to study these books. Apart from the books, you should go for Surgery app by Dr. Pritesh Singh from PrepLadder. Why? Because whenever you are free and sometimes you don't have books with you, then you can watch the videos, you can develop the concepts, and this app will help you in the general surgery aspect of NEET SS exam in most of the super specialty. Now, see, these are my own experiences and observations. I might be having some bias for surgery branch. Some of these information is based on the discussion with my colleagues, my friends who are working in some other hospitals and in other branches. So you are the best judge for yourself. You have to choose the best option for yourself. So what is the carry home message? First, surgeons are born, not created, is a myth. See, surgical expertise is reached through practice, and surgical experts are made, not born. Life is a beautiful and balanced combination of career, family, friends, finances, personal life, peace, and satisfaction. All of us are not having all of these, but we should not focus only on a single aspect of these. That's why you should have some kind of balance. Welcome to the beautiful world of surgery.